Welcome, dear readers, to Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed but not read by yours truly. My name is Khaki.
And I'm Kay, and remember, we only judge a book by its cover.
And we find ourselves once more amid the, once towering stacks of your library. I'm actually finding them very comfortable. Now that I'm a denizen of the high altitudes, I'm a Skywalker, as they say. After last week's adventures with ladders, I've rather made my home among the tops of your bookcases, because I've noticed something.
Yes?
The ladders seem to grow back. Like I can just keep taking them, and the next day, eventually, there'll be a new ladder in the stack where I took it.
Oh, that must be the gnomes.
The gnomes, you say?
Right, yes. You know, the ones that, take care of general affairs in the library.
Where do these gnomes, come from, live? Do you pay them?
Have you been examining the skirting boards?
No, as I say, I'm a Skywalker
there
now.
you go. So there's
this is so far literally beneath me, but do tell.
No, it looks like, the little woodwork paneling in the
wainscoting.
Is that what it's called?
According to Monty Python.
Oh, right, yes.
But so I've been building some infrastructure up there. Now I have essentially an infinite supply of ladders. So I'm building a rather a cunning layout of passageways along the ceiling between. I've even set up a little toll system, which I'm currently
paying the toll.
Well, just largely me.
Okay.
So far, it's both extremely inconvenient to actually collect, and it's costing me an arm and a leg.
Good. Well, I'll be here to collect every week, so that'll be fine.
Yeah, there's details that I haven't worked out yet.
I was going to suggest we move to the springtime conservatory, where I keep the weatherproof books. But considering that you're suffering from hay fever, that might not be a good idea while we're in fake spring.
Yes, the decoy spring.
Well, that's one, yes.
This decoy spring.
It'll be followed by second winter, then true spring, and then we'll move on into fake...
And then winter revisited.
Yeah, then summer will fall probably on a Wednesday this year.
It is traditional, yeah. Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
As I mentioned last week, due to the novelization of Mission Impossible 1, I've learned to rappel quite well, but... I'm looking to make the vertical ascent and descent a little easier, but I have nothing to fashion ropes out of for pulleys or for...
What have you been using for rappelling then, if you don't have any ropes?
Just my own suspenders and belt. Yeah. Yes, I'm one of those people with suspenders and a belt.
Well, you can use the drape, the decorative ropes on the drapes over by the fireplace.
Yes, the velvet ropes.
Exactly, that would work.
Did those grow back too? Did the gnomes take care of that?
I'm not sure. Just try it out and see what happens. It might work. They might replace them. I don't know.
I'm going to take your advice to the next level and do that for just about everything that isn't or is nailed down, and we'll just see.
Just not the books, okay?
No,
or the catalog system.
No, we've come to an agreement. I am digitizing it as I'm using it for fuel.
Well, it shouldn't be cold much longer. It'll be fine then.
No, but I have discovered that bookworm is tastier when sautéed a little bit. So
grilled on a skewer, I would say.
Oh, so you have tried them?
No, yeah. What you do is you start by skewering them, then you give them a quick grill, then you put them in the steamer to get rid of the excess fat.
Oh.
Then you dip them in the mirin soy-based marinade.
Yes.
Several times.
Yes, continue.
And then you re-grill them again.
What do you do with the drippings? Are they truly discarded?
Sorry,
getting rid of the fat, as you mentioned. I mean,
the fat? No, that's discarded. I mean, you keep reusing the marinade.
It's related to sake, isn't it?
Yes, it's a sweet cooking sake. Yes.
Well,
and basically you grill and you dip and you grill and you dip, and therefore any of the other fat which is still in there. I mean, you don't steam all the fat out of it, and it kind of gets mingled in, and you have to top it up, but it becomes one of those perpetual vats of goodness.
That sounds fantastic. I'm going to do that. Right. That sounds excellent. Thank you.
You need quite a few of those bookworms to make a good meal out of, and you really have to get rid of the core, because you'll bite the lead core is going to
it's like the sand vein in certain crustaceans.
Absolutely, yes, yes, and you don't want to get yourself lead poisoning. So
does the same recipe apply to the gnomes?
I don't know. I've never actually seen them. I know they're there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that was a weird question to ask. that was the point where you draw the line.
Like I said, I've never actually seen them. I know they're here. I mean, I pay them and they do the work, so it's fine.
Wait, you paid them? Which is how? How does this transaction take place if you don't see them?
Bank transfer?
No, you're not getting out of this one that easily. How did this system get started? Did you have a middleman?
I have a ledger here. It's a library.
Yeah. How did it start? Who approached you with the services of these? Was there a middleman? Was there an email? Was it a Nigerian prince?
Well, I inherited this library, so it was like the system was already in place, and
you just
I had to modernize it. Money was exchanged, but it was getting harder and harder to get the gold 10 guilder pieces.
Gold 10 guilder? Oh, okay, that sounds plausible.
Yeah, so there was coins, and that was getting harder, so I just opened a bank account for them, put some money in there, and left the card and the data out there, and it was gone the next day, and it's been going like that ever since.
So it's very well possible that these creatures, whatever they are, just didn't understand what you left for them and have been operating in good faith.
Possible.
I don't know, like as a denizen of the sky now, I don't know that I'll bother with the little people down on or under the ground. But
as long as I don't catch you with a bow and arrow or a sniper rifle trying to.
No, there's the harpoon.
Where did you find a harpoon?
What's with all these questions? I've got to hold on. No, I've got to feed myself somehow. How did you think I've been hunting 45 caliber bookworms?
And all the fucking harpoon.
How else would I have?
Okay, I suppose its skewer could be construed as a very small, very sharp harpoon.
Look, I've been living in a library for by now 10 weeks. I think I get to use my imagination a little bit. And, okay, sure, some might call it a ballpoint pen on a stick, but to me it's a harpoon.
Oh, okay, that's fine then.
Oh, now it's fine.
Sorry, I thought you'd found the armory. Never mind.
Ooh, no, hold on, no. The book review is, it's going to be a short one today. Now I want to know about the armory.
No.
I thought that I'd been all up and down, literally, the expanse of this library, but... Where have I been going wrong? I've found all 6 corners.
Okay, yes.
Oh,
let's go with that. Let's go with that.
I can see your face. The readers at home, I can see his face. And there's apparently more than 6 corners. Okay, fine. I have a new mission. I'm going to find the armory, and those gnomes are going into the mirin sauce.
If my cleaning staff suddenly stops cleaning, I'm going to hold you responsible for this.
Speaking of eating, how are you going to? Oh, that's how you're going to link it up.
Yes, of course I am.
The podcast Segue Award of 2019, the first contender, Kay.
Goes to. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So it's not going to be a crawfish boil, but we are going to go with today's book.
Which is?
Hang on.
Oh, you've got notes.
I have notes. Of course.
Okay,
apparently I didn't write down the crawfish boil, so never mind. So, so today's book is by Guy N. Smith, and it is called Crabs: The Human Sacrifice.
I think that this mandates a particular pronunciation. Crabs: The Human Sacrifice.
From the Black Lagoon. No, no, that's not actually part of the title, but it's kind of what you'd expect from them.
By Guy N. Smith.
Yeah, the sea can't hold them, we can't stop them, they're here to kill.
And for the readers at home, if you look down at your podcasting device, you should be seeing the cover of today's book, and otherwise you can check the show notes for an image and a link. Because on the cover we see, it's a fairly simple one.
I mean, it makes no mistake about the human sacrifice part.
Yeah,
and nor about the crabs for that matter.
Crab, singular.
Well, yeah, sure. So I think what we have here is one of the main characters.
No, you go ahead.
No, okay.
No, you have the notes first.
One of our main characters, Joan Slumley.
Joan Slumley.
Who is, quietly in the middle of being, sacrificed, I would say.
Sacrificed by a giant
crab.
I don't recognize the species either way.
No, it's definitely not a wool-hand crab. It's one of those
sexually dimorphic ones where the male has one enlarged pincer.
I was going to say, it's like the crab in question has one huge pincer which is holding a sword, and the other one which is
a little itty bitty one off to the side.
And I'm pretty sure it's not foreshadowing. If it's much, foreshadowing. Yes, yeah. Different one. Sorry, my literary instincts took over there.
But
yes.
That's fair, since most of the villainous crabs that appear in this book are all males. And they're the ones that...
And right-handed.
Tend to have these. And, yes, dexterous.
Yes.
Versus sinister.
Oh, I was going to say versus ambidextrous, but fair enough.
So, and he's brandishing a gleaming dagger.
I'd call it a sword. If you compare it to the size of her body, it's a sword.
It's not much longer than her forearm. A wakizashi counts as a sword, but a kukri counts as a knife. I mean, they're not that far apart in length. You know, a decent machete.
I'm sure there might be some listeners who here have very strong opinions on this matter, but
there is some overlap between swords.
The real question that I'm wondering is was the author trying to make allegations to the Arthurian legends here, with swords being distributed from lakes being a element in stories?
Okay, they tend to be drawn from lakes, as you mentioned, or stones of various destinies, rather than plunged into.
Well, I know, but we have definitely a water creature with a sword. I mean, it might have been like trying to hand it over to someone at some point in the past. Since there's no bloody takers, and it's like, okay, screw it, we're going to come out and like insert it into whomever the chosen one is.
Well, in that case, then this cover is much more allegorical than it is literal. So instead of referring to the human sacrifice, where Joan Slumley is about to be sacrificed, it may actually refer to the legend of the Crab King.
Oh, which one? Is that the Asian one or the Western one?
The Western Crab King, obviously. We're talking about the Arthurian legend. Well, unless that is indeed a wakizashi.
Well, it doesn't seem to be. I mean, no. It's got the point which is like narrows in from both sides, whereas the wakizashi has a chisel point, which only comes
true.
In. The reason I asked the question, of course, about the
notes are really combative
about the Eastern and Western is, of course, that we have, especially when it comes to crabs, lots of invasive species coming in.
Yes.
Especially the woolhand crabs, which is clearly not, but that might be the artist not knowing what to depict exactly. Coming down from the north during especially on the coast from Norway, with basically invading the territories of our European coasts
through the portal.
Right.
That I'm sure led to some legal shenanigans between Guy N. Smith and Guillermo del Toro of Pacific Rim.
Right, yes. Well, this is more like the North Atlantic Rim then, I suppose, although we don't really have something along those
where the portal connects to I had my notes here first. Where the portal connects to a parallel world where the supercontinent Gondwanaland had not yet broken up.
Gondwanaland, yes.
God, we're really wielding these notes like little square shuriken.
No, absolutely. The question I would like to ask, who was the one who violated the Benthic Treaty first? Was that the humans or the crabs? I mean, the book is kind of, it's kind of like The Day After, the movie. The first half of the movie is like about the build-up, and then there's like the nuclear war, and then there's the aftermath of that. The whole point of the movie is that it's actually left unclear who started it. It's just like it happened, and it's just like.
But just
in this case, with the crabs, how would you say regarding this book? How would you?
Let's look at the details first of the Benthic Treaty. Like this portal has been around for a while. You mentioned Norway. I think that it's fairly reasonable to expect that it may have been the site of an earlier invasion or conflict that was resolved with the treaty. I mean, that's usually
could have been the testing of the Tsar bomber on Nova Zembla, which opened the portal again. Maybe the damage it did as being so massive, it actually sent shockwaves reverberating through the portal.
The Soviet nuclear weapon of stupendous power,
15 megatons, I believe, and that's because they only dialed it down because it could have.
If we look at the details of the Benthic Treaty, like one of the stipulations that really stand out in insofar as we're given any clue of them, like. Of course, no dimensional travel, travel between worlds.
No, but also
both sides have definitely broken in the past.
Yes, and non-aggression, which, like a nuclear explosion, would clearly be in violation of.
If we describe that it was the Gondwanaland crabs that invaded,
yes,
I believe that they were motivated by revenge. They must feel some kinship with their decapod cousins on our world, and the fact that just about everyone on the planet who comes in contact with them has some recipes for what to do with crab.
Okay. Yes.
It's something that they may not have been aware of during the first incursions, but now that they realize that, they must think that we're savages.
Well, it is something to be like watch through a portal and see like the grand festivity that would call a crawfish boil, which is something that's celebrated in certain parts of the New World.
What exactly are crawfish?
Well, they're more like langoustines than they are crabs.
Second question: what exactly are langoustines?
Tiny lobsters. Like
Little
somewhere
lobsters.
halfway between shrimp and shrimp and lobsters are more like scale different. Langoustines are kind of in the middle between those. Or
I don't do super well with
that's like
invertebrates in general.
Yes, so you're more a sausage fest kind of guy than a clam bake.
Well, I like, hot dogs, sausages and buns, that's me.
There we go.
Way to bring the level down. I thought we are a highfalutin literary podcast.
I'm sorry, that must have slipped me by.
As much as the preamble sets the stage for this world and introduces us to the portal in Norway, the invasive species of these mega crabs coming in from Gondwanaland on a mission of revenge after breaking the Benthic Treaty, which they believe that we have already...
it's always the same thing. It's like, same with Russians and Americans. Like, you broke it first. No, you broke it first.
It results in their revenge, which is to take human prisoners and to kill us and cut us open.
Yes.
See how you like it.
It tries to paint the crabs as these killing machines which come in for no apparent reason, like start like murdering little village settlements along the fjords.
As the subtitle says, the sea can't hold them, we can't stop them.
And they're here to kill, and that's what they do. And that's actually not super fair, because while they're extremely well armed and they do overrun anywhere they... All six of them? Well, they're
10, in fact.
Right.
They're decapods.
You count the mandibles?
They have 4 legs on each side, and then they have 2 pincer arms.
Oh, yeah, so that's right. Yes.
10 extremities.
To be honest, I have no idea. The same thing with horseshoe crabs. Anytime someone turns one over, I'm like, I nope out of it immediately. Like, they're fine when they're upside down. They just look like a German arm and helmet with a spike sticking out the back. As soon as someone turns them over, I'm like nope.
Oh, you're zooming in on it now.
Zooming. You're
zooming in. I find this very upsetting.
No, I can get that. I was just wanted to get a bit of look, because you can clearly see the eye stalk things, and I was just wanted to see what they did with the mouth thing. If it's like grinning, or if this like little. It's
sort of pouty like Ed 209 from RoboCop.
It does have a little bit of that, yes.
The point I was trying to get to is that we call them, or they're referred to as these killing machines, and yes, they do overrun all these communities, but the body count is fairly low. It is described explicitly that all of their weapons are coated in fugu toxin, the poison or venom of the pufferfish. It's poison, right?
It's poisonous if you eat it and you die. It's venomous if it bites you and you die.
Yes, exactly.
And that would explain why Joanne is lying there so peacefully, because she's obviously been stunned by the pufferfish poison, and now she's like waiting to be sacrificed to the crab gods.
But she doesn't exactly wait long enough, does she? Because as a trainee Japanese chef...
Yes.
Did I say that? Yeah, trainee chef. Yeah. That's what my notes say.
Yes.
Now, who is not very good, she has built up a bit of tolerance to the fugu poison. She's had some exposure.
Well, it explains the scene where she's like describes the whole tingling sensation running down from her lips into the rest of her body.
That was which lips do you think she's talking about?
Well...
I don't mean to be blue, but... It was a pretty
the sensation was going down, so I'm going to have to go with the safe option, but rather than coming up into her body. But yes, also that's not how you eat fugu.
Well, she wasn't eating it. She was accosted by a crab.
Oh, I see
his
what you
claws.
Oh, I see what you mean.
With the fugu toxin.
You were doing a little bit of tentacular horror from the deep type. I didn't really read.
Not me. I'm an innocent and pure soul.
No, we're talking about Guy Smith.
Guy N. Smith, if ever there was
a pseudonym,
a nom de plume. Yes, exactly.
I'm sure you have to ingest it too. But yeah, like chefs, how you kind of like get the taste.
It's a neurotoxin, and well, the thing about it is, it's a muscular paralytic, so it's entirely possible to survive it as long as somebody provides...
People just have to like give you for mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
Mouth-to-mouth for about 20, 30, 45 minutes, I believe.
Okay.
It's really not that hard. You can survive it outside of a hospital.
Right.
Survival rates in Japan, I've read, have gone up significantly since...
people were trained?
Since people have been trained.
I mean, to be honest, you only have to like keep it up for 10 minutes until the ambulance gets there and they get a...
one of those blowy...
they intubate you and pump your...
the ones that they have in ER. Do they have a fancy name?
I'm sure they do.
Because they sometimes fashion them out of like soft drink bottles and a gas mask.
Yeah, I mean anything that'll give positive pressure onto you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean I suppose you can get a CPAP mask and like turn it up to max or something.
Oh, that'd be good.
And use that, something along those lines. That could probably work.
A little disclaimer, I apologise if I'm spreading disinformation about the actual seriousness of fugu poisoning. It's because I'm misinformed, and not because we're a source of anything but
recreation.
Well, no, we also don't condone the recreational use of pufferfish toxin.
Apparently dolphins do.
Oh yes, I read about that.
They go like bumping them so they inflate, and then they go like, kind of like mouth on, and they pass them around and they get high on it, and they
get fucking high.
It's like, I mean, sure,
Dolphins
why not?
Are crazy party animals. I only wish that Guy and Smith had known about that. He might have included.
Dolphin Revolution, like the Dolphin King coming up with the crab versus the Crab King. It was maybe that's the sequels. Maybe the next one would maybe the next book in the series would have been called Dolphins, the Crab Sacrifice.
Yes, the Dolphins, the Crab Sacrifice. Well, I don't know that we would have. That doesn't sound like anything we would have ever read.
No.
Or written
come up with
during the course of a 25+ minute podcast.
Never.
But so she wakes up and with her, due to being resistant to the fugu poisoning, easily dodges the clumsy knife strike.
Right, yeah, I mean, crabs,
it's a giant
knives.
claw holding a knife. It's not very effective.
Well, it's a ceremonial thing. It's like it's being televised, and it's like it's supposed to be shown that like we are now the boss here, and like stop doing your crawfish balls. And
so even while half paralyzed, she doesn't have a very hard time of just dodging his ineffectual strike. Like if he just used his pincers,
she would have been snipped in half. Absolutely.
But no, they're once again it's hubris. So she manages to escape. She's in one of several studios where live human sacrifices are being broadcast. Another featuring, well, it's on my notes, so I kind of have to cast the die. Bill Clinton, the president.
Mm-hmm. Well, this book was published during the 90s, so that makes sense.
Oh yes, that's right. I knew I could count on your support. I knew that this wasn't something totally absurd that might have made sense earlier on in my reading.
Well, you know how people like to put actual historical figures into books just
really?
to make it.
I've never heard of that. Who name an author who would ever have done that?
Neil Stephenson.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this would have been your opportunity to join me in this fiction. Where then fine. Okay. My last note is here. I'm putting down my last note here. Does this make sense to you?
Well, it is it would explain why we've never seen big crabs around. I mean, we've seen big crabs. I mean, like spider crabs, which are like 6 feet.
The gigantic spider crabs, yes, we've seen those.
And apparently they're really good eaten too. But
them being good eaten, that is the ultimate resolution of the book. Like after Joan Slumley and Bill Clinton and their plucky band of escapees managed to dodge and weave between the attacking Gondwanaland crabs and make it to the Crab King.
Yep.
I could see you Googling something. I don't know what's coming, but I have a vague idea that it's going to be super relevant. They ultimately resolve this crisis by using one of those ceremonial knives to carve up one of the smaller crabs. And with her limited Japanese cooking skills, she very quickly, Joan Slumley very quickly prepares it.
It's like watching I was going to say Kitchen Nightmares, but that's not the one. The kitchen theater. To the what's it called?
Hibachi?
No. Well, there's that. Yeah, it's like the little show chopping up the crab and like dicing off the legs and cracking the
and holding a piece up on a spatula and using another spatula to cool it down and then toss it into the gaping mandibles of the king crab, Crab King, where the Crab King realizes that crabs are fucking delicious. Triggering the Crab Civil War. Where are my notes? My notes are gone. We know. We've both read it. The Crab Civil War, after which we have so little to fear. Like the portal closes.
The whole invasive crab species gets either they're withdrawn or sold as soldiers, or they're just like being served on the buffets of their own kind. It's like the only problem is in the Ring of Fire when in the volcanoes.
The Ring of Fire, you mean the actual network of volcanoes around the Pacific?
That's the one, yes. Especially anywhere there's active volcano vents coming out into the water, which turns into a natural crawfish boil place, where the
bringing us full circle,
where the Gondwanalands are still
the Gondwanaland.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Your writing is a bit atrocious on that now. The Gondwanaland.
Well, we have both read the book, Kay, so you can't blame my handwriting for your poor memory of this book that we've read called Crabs: The Human Sacrifice. That I will remind you picked.
No, I agree. It's one of my favorites. I've been enjoying this well since since the 90s. I've read it at least 2 or 3 times in the
I
meantime.
bet you have.
So yes.
Lord. So
it's definitely worth a read. I'd absolutely recommend it to our... I would absolutely
to our
recommend
readers
it to
at home?
readers at home, yes.
And how would we rate the book? What's a good crab number?
Well, I would give it a... How shall we put it? 4 out of 5 stars on Yelp. Good eating.
That's a good crab number. 4 out of 5. Yeah. And what was your favourite scene?
Oh, my favourite scene. I think
maybe one that we haven't talked about yet.
No, absolutely.
Really
I really think that was the scene when Joan and Bill finally managed to escape from the fjord, get picked up by...
Say Jack Ryan. I can see you looking at the Wikipedia page for... a film that I know very well.
So, I would say that was definitely when Joan and Bill make it out of the fjords and get picked up by Marco Ramirez and his submarine, making his way down the coast and...
In his special submarine that's equipped with a caterpillar drive.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, his special, Typhoon submarine, where he's defecting from the Soviet Union.
That's the one.
Something that only CIA analyst Jack Ryan realizes.
Well, this is obviously before that part, right?
Before that.
This is a prequel to that book.
Yes, because Crabs is a prequel to The Hunt for Red October.
Absolutely.
I'd never made that connection, but it makes so much sense. Guy and Smith is obviously a pseudonym for...
Tom Clancy.
Tom Clancy, the author of the Jack Ryan.
If you rearrange the letters, you get to that name, so that's...
Yep. Everybody just accept that at face value. Move on. Do not pause your podcasting device. It's a fool's errand. Now, okay, 4 out of 5 stars on Yelp. Well, that seems like a fairly decent review. It sort of suggests
for a seafood restaurant. Yeah,
excellent food, not great street side parking.
No.
And by the way, speaking of reviews, for the readers at home, we'd love to hear what you thought, whether you listened or not. So drop us a line sometime. We're Cover My Ass Cast on Twitter or Facebook if that's your thing. Or even better, leave a nice review on iTunes or wherever. We sure do appreciate your help. Now, Kay, what do you have in store for us next time?
Next week we have a book by Beatrix de Berg, Drummer Dick's Discharge.
That covers it. Thank you for joining us at Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed but not read by yours truly. My name's Khaki.
I'm Kay, and remember, we only judge a book by its cover.
It was an excellent boil of an episode. Please don't. Oh yeah, get it out there. Get it out there.
Absolutely. I've got some discharge of my own here.
Yeah, some discharge.